correcting my interpretation of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On your
Okay.
time.
Rivers Basin.
Are you ready?
River bend.
Call the meeting to order.
Nathan, will you start us with a pledge?
The flag's over this way.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Why is that?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, with that, we'll move on to approval of minutes. There's no corrections. I look for a motion to approve the minutes.
I move that we accept the minutes.
I'll second that.
Motion from Gary, second from Worth. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On to the approval of the vouchers.
I've gone through payroll and bills and I would move to approve them in the amount of $74,048.62.
Second that.
Are we including the, oh, never mind.
Motion from Nathan, a second by Gabe. Any discussion on the vouchers? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And no correspondence. Do we have anybody signed up? Any citizens signed up to speak tonight?
We have one, Dale Mattinen was signed up.
Could file a fire chief, so you keep going.
Okay. He might show up yet. Okay, moving on to old business, alarm/fob entry. Who's speaking about that?
Well, here again, Logan was gonna get us numbers.
I have no new updates.
Update on that, okay?
Can we get a hold of Logan and put a timeline on this? We've been working on this for quite some time.
I can do that.
All right. I mean, we've been talking about it for
Yeah.
months.
And that, is that still for the,
For the building here.
okay, for the building?
Entry, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, also, as long as you're getting an update, the pavilion, just to see if he has that accomplished as well.
The pavilion, I gave the block to Public Works. He was gonna rekey it so that we had matching keys. And then I don't know if he was gonna install it or if he was gonna pass it on, but he was working on that today.
Oh, okay.
So It's in the works.
All right. How about security camera for the recycling shed?
Here again, Logan was gonna get us some numbers on that,
A Logan thing too?
another Logan thing. Yep. Obviously, he's not here.
Do you want to discuss that any more than that? I mean, is there any just general discussion you want to have about that? I know. Is it something that we should even be pursuing, or is the shed a moot point?
Well, when Kyle was talking about it, he said, right now, the security camera that we have on the building, if someone is doing anything inappropriate, you could not even read the car license plate number. So the suggestion that I brought to the last meeting was from him, when he said that why not get a good camera on the building that would encompass the property? So if there is some vandalism, it makes it worthwhile having a camera. Because right now, he says the camera we have isn't doing its job as far as, you know,
Now, see, that would make more sense because you don't have Wi-Fi out there at the shed. So
no,
anything that you put out there is gonna have to have a standalone recorder.
right?
So we're talking about making it on this building that's accessible in view of the shed as well,
In the parking lot or whatever it is that,
that would have that capability, that powerful of a camera or wide of a lens.
Right. Or maybe you switch it to two cameras where one's pointing towards the shed and one's pointing more towards the parking lot.
Okay, is that something Logan is aware of even?
I, I don't know that we talked to him about that specifically.
Well, let me check into that too.
Okay.
I got lots of time to make phone calls right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'll check on that with Logan and, I've got lots of people I work with at school. We got cameras that you can see all the way across the parking lot, no problem. So,
Okay, thanks, Tom.
also under old business and, part-time recycling shed coverage. I see it's open. Where are we at with that?
It's open. Irene is back.
Okay.
So but she's got a vacation coming up in September. So we've got to decide what we want to do with her absence then. And then we had also talked about looking into hiring somebody to be like a fill-in for her. And then it was also asked if she would want to share her hours. So I talked to her. She doesn't really want to share her hours. She'd like to keep her hours, but just have somebody to fill in.
Okay.
So the Tom Whiteside, I can just kind of read you what he said here. Regarding the recycling shed, the township can hire a temporary / seasonal employee to cover non-overtime hours. The contract specifically recognizes temporary / seasonal employees as employees whose employment is limited in duration or to a specific project or task not to exceed 67 working days per calendar year, and excludes those employees from the bargaining unit. Where we need to be careful is if the available hours would be overtime for existing bargaining unit employees. Article 9.3 provides that overtime is to be distributed among employees as equally as practicable, with overtime refused considered overtime offered. Article 9.7 also provides premium pay for hours worked outside an employee's regular shift. The township should not use a temporary / seasonal employee to circumvent the contractual distribution of overtime. So from my perspective, this is Tom Whiteside still, the township could hire someone on a temporary / seasonal basis to fill in at the recycling shed for non-overtime hours, provided the arrangement complies with the contract's 67 working day limitation. If the township's intent is instead to establish a permanent on-call position that continues indefinitely and ultimately transitions into Irene's position when she retires, we should discuss how that position would be classified under the agreement.
Can I ask a clarifying question? And the 67 days, because this is a part-time position anyway, a shift would be less than 8 hours. Is that still a day, or is a day considered something else? What is a day?
I guess I don't know if a day is defined
I
as
think
a
it's gonna be
contract.
any day they work for any period of time.
most likely. I'd have to look at the contract, but that would be the plain meaning.
I've looked at the contract. It doesn't describe what a day is.
I would think that the plain meaning would be any time on any day. Not, you wouldn't say they were only work 3 hours, that's not a day. That would count as one of those 67 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
So in keeping with that, going back to, do we want to look for a person to fill less than 67 hours and not have to go through the union process, just on our own, appoint somebody or put out an ad for a non-union position to do something of this nature, and then just be conscientious that we don't schedule them more than 67 hours a year, or a year,
67 days.
67 days.
Can I ask, is the reason to hire this person so that when Irene is on vacation, we have somebody who can fill in, or is it that this would mature into a full-time replacement if she decides to retire at some point?
I would say right now it's just to cover when she's not here.
Yeah, okay.
And I would like to see it, I like the coverage part, but I also would like to see that we are more proactive to get somebody that would be willing to step in when she's ready to retire. Well, it's
And
a little bit of both.
not to diminish the role, because I think it's important. It is somewhat unique and very narrow in its scope. And here again, I don't think it's described in the contract as that. It's just a temporary, or it's just a part-time person to be used at our discretion. Could we not hire, if and when Irene perhaps resigns or retires, could we use that position for more than the shed? Keep it part-time, under 35 hours or 30 hours?
Currently, she does more than the shed. She opens the pavilion when it's being rented.
So that's what I'm getting
So
at.
to answer your question, yes.
So we,
Okay, to
yeah.
answer your question, yes.
I mean, we could have them do gardening or, yeah.
or in the case if, and I'm thinking also that we may have a vacancy in the janitorial.
Right.
That person could do that work as well.
Yep.
And then that would be a union position, be
Possibly.
possibly, well, it'd be less than, it would have to be if it was more than 67 hours or,
67
Yeah.
days. Yeah.
okay. So actually, so where does that put us? What do we want to do?
I think what we want to do is we want to hire a recycling shed substitute.
For right now.
Mhm.
And then,
And hopefully it's somebody that maybe wants to become
With-
more than that.
With less than 67 shifts a year.
Yeah.
So how long is her vacation going to be?
It's 2 weeks, so it would be 8 days.
So 8
But-
shifts.
we did also go through how long medical leave without anybody.
Yeah.
So that was,
That was unforeseen.
well, no, it wasn't. It was a planned surgery. However, it wasn't prepared for
Right,
as far as,
Right.
right.
And then all of a sudden was gone.
right.
Six.
Length was unforeseen.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't predict on a medical.
right. No, I understand.
Our problem with her vacation is it starts September 18th, so we're not gonna hire somebody before that.
Right.
No, I'm looking at long range myself personally.
Sure.
So for short term, now that we know, as long as it's less than 67 days, do we just want to have somebody fill in that's filled in before?
Or do we want to do as we did when she was on medical leave and just,
Well,
send him to Highway 210?
I don't like to.
Well, I don't either.
Or we could have it open during office hours.
At least have it open during office hours.
And that's been suggested a few times. And that would, again, to my response, have a better idea with the camera, so we don't have someone dumping siding. And if they do, we can tag who it is and take care of it that way.
So open unattended.
Open unattended during the business hours
When she's gone for
for those
September. And then let's try to get somebody hired as a substitute.
long range.
Long-term,
Yeah, because they might not even work until next summer sometime.
Right.
Right.
Who knows?
knows?
I like-
This, what do you think, Nathan?
I don't know, at this time, I struggle to see why we need it unless we're expecting a retirement soon, but I don't know. I'm okay with just, I don't see the need to hire anybody on a temporary basis right now.
You're okay just opening it
I'm okay
when,
just having it open.
during office hours,
Yeah, if that's what we need to do.
when she's not here.
Right.
Well, we can,
That would be-
I mean, we can kick the can. I'm
as long
fine.
as we
I
post
mean,
it.
So do we need to make a motion or is this just something we're gonna do? Do we just keep it open during business hours and in Irene's absence?
Well, I think we could make a motion and approve it that anytime Irene is not here, that we'll have it open during office hours.
What about
does
the
that mean
weekend?
we're closing Saturday?
Right. This
Is that what
just-
you're gonna
yeah.
say? Sorry.
So we close it on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just change the hours. Okay.
And do we need a county's approval on that? Because I know all the other sheds have the same hours. But it would be on a temporary basis, so I don't suppose they'd oppose that.
We didn't even broach that last time we did this.
I did talk to the,
Did you?
yeah, he said as long as it was on a temporary basis. So I guess I
Okay,
answered my own question.
okay. So if we were to so move, how would you write that, Tiffany?
I would say somebody just makes a motion that anytime our recycling shed attendant is not available, that the recycling shed would be open during office hours. That way you don't have to say anything about weekends. You're just simply stating that it'll be open during office hours.
I so move.
Second.
A motion from Gary, a second from Nathan. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Office assistant job description. Gary?
well, this has been on the agenda actually for a number of weeks now. And the big question becomes, do we want to just make a general statement about what we are looking for and minimize the responsibilities, and just in general, we're looking for somebody that has some basic skills in office work. And it would be a part-time job at this point. And then just put it out there.
That's what I would like to see, because when I look at that great big long list of duties to perform, or, you know, however it's written, it seems like we're looking for someone that can do it all, but only wants to just work a little tiny bit,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, that was kind of my reaction when I read it, and when I saw it and realized how in-depth this was, I did not think that's what you were asking for back in February. And I wanted to get your opinion in particular
Yeah.
before we either approve it or don't approve it. And or revise it. I think we need a description, because you have to have something in the paper. And it would be a fairly
But it doesn't have
broad,
to be a full page ad.
right, it would just be a broad statement. We're looking for skilled office support who might know some of these specific programs or office tools to use.
Yeah.
So though, if I may, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Those are the qualifications. But because it's going to be a union position, you're going to have a job description. And then the union sent back a reply, and I thought it made sense. And that was that if that job description fits into one of your current job classifications, then that would be the pay. If not, then you'd have to negotiate with the union to figure out, is this a new job classification? And if so, what's that pay? So I don't see any way that you don't have a job description in order to square it out with the union contract.
And I don't have a problem with that either, but the job description is just a general office assistant to assist with what is Signed for them.
And I think with that, I don't have a problem with that. I just don't know if the union will. And if so, we'll work it out with them. It's certainly something that you're going to be able to work through.
So let me ask you this, Mike, is that something that you could boilerplate a job description?
I
For
saw
us?
the job description you had and I didn't see anything necessarily wrong with it. As long as it's an as assigned, because it's got some of the job duties of both of your office people in there, maybe all three.
All three, it looked like, yeah.
And the question is really going to be, how many hours are they going to work? They're going to do all of these job duties, or some of them at different times. I think we're going to have to meet with union at some point. You'll have to meet with union and say, what's the best way, how are we going to figure out what that pay is going to be?
Right, because I don't think we want to bring somebody in that's gonna be expected to do all this stuff they have to learn. Ask Leah, they got a lot to learn. We're gonna bring them in and start them at Leah's pay.
Right.
That's not.
Correct. So
I mean, I deal with that at a different union and it does not bode well for people that have been there for 30 years and you bring somebody in part-time and they're making the same amount of money as them. So I think we definitely need to sit down with the union and come up with a different pay scale for this position.
Are you
So
volunteering?
how does that slow us down for hiring somebody though? We'd have to get approval from the union before we can even hire somebody?
Probably.
You're going to have to come to an agreement on what that wage scale is going to be. That's my understanding of it. So it's not going to be you guys unilaterally setting the pay because you've already got a contract. So if the union says, hey, that's really like person number two's job, you got to pay him this under our contract, then you got a dispute that you got to work out. And I would think what you're talking about, which I agree with, is see if you can work it out on the front end with the union. And maybe what you're talking about is going back to the union with this job description and saying, what's your call on this? And if they say, well, it's going to be the same pay as person number two, then I think you're going to come back and say, that's not what we're thinking. Let's pare those job duties down or change it in some way that indicates I'm not speaking for Tiffany or any of the people in the office, but I'm assuming that your permanent employees are still going to be the people who are doing the analysis and the decisions, and they're going to assign the work to this person. So it's not the same job. It's some of the
Some of the same tasks. Yeah.
tasks, but not the same responsibility.
Right.
That I think is the difference. So I think that's how I would approach it with the union and say, maybe this is a different job classification. And if so, what's that wage going to be? And I think that's where we're heading, is meeting with the union, figuring out what this classification is going to be and what's that wage going to be.
So is that something where we need to have like a face-to-face meeting with everyone? Or can I meet with Tom Whiteside, Leah and Dan and just talk about it and see if we can come up with something? Or does it need to be something where we need to have our attorney present? And
I don't know that I would need to be present at this stage. I think what I would do in reality, this is kind of a minor issue at this point.
Right.
It's a part-time job. We don't know what the hours are going to be. We kind of know what the tasks are going to be.
Yeah.
It's not going to have the same responsibility as your full-time employees. I think I would go to the union, and I think one of you can go to the union and just say, unless there's some formal process they want, I don't know that,
okay,
and say, let's sit down, let's talk about this, let's see if we can't come to some version of agreement that each side can take back. So the union rep would probably get back with the employees, I would think, and say, here's what we're thinking as a union. You'd come back to the board and say, here's what we're thinking as a board. And if we match up, there'd be an amendment to the contract. If we don't, there's got to be a process. I don't know what it is. I'd have to see what that is.
so if you guys are okay with that, I'll do that. I'll get a hold of Tom and Leah and Dan and test the waters and see if we can just come to an agreement on a different pay scale for this position.
Do we want to make a motion to that effect?
We should make a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion that Mr. Compton takes over with the union and the representation and comes up with hours wages for this part-time job position.
I can second that.
Any other discussion?
Mike, did you have something else to say?
Yeah, I think your first stopping point is the union.
Yeah.
Not the employees.
Okay,
I just don't know. My guess is that any of those issues, the union is the bargaining representative.
Yep.
You got to start there.
So, yeah, well, perfect.
And it's a good reason for us taking time on it.
All right, with that being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. All right, I'll get that taken care of. You guys are getting off easy.
You volunteered that you have time on your hands.
looking for something.
All right, under new business, insurance.
Insurance is, I gave you guys a copy of some of our health insurance options. Our current Blue Cross plan is, going away. And so they were gonna automatically move us over to, the HSA Silver 5400 plan, which is in the third column. I reached out to Reliable Insurance Agency to kind of see what our options are. They gave me this other option with Medica, that has, similar deductible. It's a little higher out of pocket with more, insurance or more, prescription costs. But then he proposed we could add in dental, which we don't have, and possibly eyewear only vision, and still come out cheaper than the Blue Cross plan. So I hopefully you guys had a chance to look it over after the work session and have some thoughts of how we want to move forward with the health insurance for the office staff.
Well, I like what I see on the Medica plan as they've got it with all the numbers, $74,716.32.
And that one is the health only.
Correct.
And then on that Reliable sheet, you can see the dental and the vision costs as well.
Which right now, I think the contract says that dental and vision is up to you guys, right? We can provide it, but you guys pay for it.
I guess, Leah, is that addressed in the contract,
It is.
I think,
It is.
Gary,
in the union contract?
Gary's got a contract here.
The other plan was that dental would finally be a thing because the public works has dental and they have vision, so we thought this would be the time to add that.
yeah, being that the contract says that, if that's what the contract says, is that it's not included, then we wouldn't be able to include it until the contract is due.
You could include it for me if you wanted. I'm not covered under the union.
Oh, good one, Jennifer.
Article 11, insurance benefits. It refers to 11.2 coverage options. It says the employee shall provide health insurance coverage. The employer will also provide dental and vision options at the employee's sole cost. The employees will receive detailed information regarding the plan benefits and cost during open enrollment periods. So even though they're offering it, I think that because this is a negotiated item, you can't just say, well, we can forget that and we'll pay for it.
You can do an MOU.
Right.
It's not,
Or wait till January and no.
Yeah, so when is the insurance going?
Well, and
current
that's
plan?
why I thought it was January, so I didn't get on this soon enough. It's September 1st.
Oh.
So that I did not realize, and so that's my bad. I was starting to prepare this for voting on for January.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it came up like it expires in renews in September. So I apologize for not more notice on that. I didn't realize that was the expiration window.
A 13% increase in what we're paying for insurance is a lot already, without jumping up 23% plus adding.
Well, and that 23% one is what it is gonna automatically renew to if we do nothing. That's their kind of similar coverage.
So the proposed Medica one is for health only. It's not for dental and
Right.
vision.
And that's the 74.
And that's the 74. And that's also, what's the percentage of increase there?
That's the
That's the
13.4.
13%.
13.4.
So I don't see how we can justify adding even more to that. I don't know what to say. It's considering the option that this was a negotiated item in the contract. I think it can be renegotiated, but we're not under any, I mean, we're already being pressured to increase the medical insurance. We don't want to add coverage to it and increase that even further.
Right, and the Blue Cross plan is the plan that offers the same coverage. The Medica plan is a little bit lesser coverage. And that's why it's cheaper.
Lesser coverage, how?
Well, it's higher out of pocket and it doesn't cover all of the prescriptions.
Yes.
Quick question. Gary, I heard you say in the contract that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that those vision and dental is an option at the employee's expense.
Yep.
So what is the, if they're willing to pay for it.
Doesn't make any difference. They would be paying for it regardless, right?
Yep.
I mean, we will make that available as an option, and we already do that from what I understand.
Right, and those numbers, the Delta Dental and Delta Vision, those aren't tied to Medica. Those could go with the Blue Cross. So regardless of which.
Right, so we're fulfilling the contract obligation, I guess is what I'm saying. We're already fulfilling the obligation. We don't need to also pay for it. I mean, it's like a contract negotiation. We're not in contract negotiations.
It sounded like you folks were debating that it would cost more when actually for those two extra coverages, the employees would be paying. That's what.
I think what they're asking for is that we pay for it.
Oh,
Am I not correct in that?
No, that's what.
Okay, and I don't
That's
think
what I'm
that's,
getting at.
and from my perspective, that's wonderful, and I appreciate your concern and desire, but we're not in contract negotiations, and we're being kind of forced by just natural processes to change our insurance,
Right, healthcare is going up
healthcare is
across
going
the
up.
board.
right?
So they're discontinuing this current plan.
Yep.
Is there any improvement in the proposed HSA Silver 5400 plan, or is that just the same plan?
It's basically the same plan with a higher deductible. And it costs more, so.
Mike, did you have an opinion for us on this?
I wish I did, but I don't. What's going through my mind is somehow the contract must account for this because the plan doesn't end when the contract ends. So you can't get the exact same plan you had when you negotiated. I mean, this seems reasonable to me that you could go with really either of these and make it work. It's higher cost for the employer, it's higher cost for the employee. I don't know if there's anything you could do about that.
When is the AFSCME contract up for renegotiation? Oh, this year or next year? Okay.
January 1st.
So I think that should be certainly a topic of discussion when
I'd like to leave that topic as well for the contract negotiations and then just go with, personally, just going with the Medica plan
I don't think we have a choice really.
as far as.
To do the
So
BS.
we have to just go with the 13% increase.
Right.
I don't think we can justify jumping to the higher plan and adding more coverage without it being in the contract. People are gonna ask us why.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's already it's a good plan with zero expense to the employee.
Well, I would move that we accept the Medica proposal of 74,716.32. Am I reading that right?
Correct.
And leave the options for the dental and vision as they are.
I'll second that motion.
A motion from Gary and a second from Ruth. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. Next under new business is Knox box. Is that another voting thing?
That was a Kyle thing. I thought he was gonna be here to talk about it, but that's to have like, so the fire department has access to the multifamily buildings. The Knox box provides the key to get in. So I think, Mike can help us get a policy.
Yeah, it is, it's in the Minnesota rules that is a requirement. The fire marshal or the fire chief can require it. It's a state law. Basically, your fire chief is going to be in a position where he can say this building needs it, that building needs it, et cetera. It's a safety issue so that the fire department can get in the building to fight the fire. Excuse me.
Don't we have a proposal or Knox blocks? Do we have one on file
I
anywhere?
kicked around a few, but not.
I don't think we've ever actually put one into place, have we? I know Kyle's been working on it and wanting to get it.
Remember
Thanks,
discussion.
Greg. I think you have them on your buildings, don't you?
I have them on 2 of the 3 buildings.
2 of the 3 so far. That's common, I take it.
I don't know.
Once this policy's in place.
I asked, Kyle Gilchrist, the fire marshal, he said that's not a rule that he enforces.
Oh,
I'll put it on there, but my point is you don't have an ordinance that,
right.
was said that you did have an ordinance and you clearly do not have one.
Okay.
And that, there is, I don't know if it's in the packet, but there is a sample ordinance. I think one of them came out of Rice Lake, which imposes that. So you can adopt it by ordinance, but it is in the state rules, which
Do
is
we
somewhat.
need an ordinance if it's state statute?
Well, that's what's puzzling to me. I think that my gut reaction is, from a legal perspective, you probably wouldn't. From a practical perspective, your residents are going to say, show me where it's in your ordinance, pass an ordinance. It just basically tells everyone, yes, this is now local law. It's already in state rules. So that was,
So you're just saying sometimes it's easier for the public and for us to pull an ordinance than it is to try to go through a million state statutes and say, oh yeah, here it is. Okay, well, let's get
I'll make a motion that we put an ordinance in place on the Knox box. Turn that over to our attorney.
I'll second that.
motion from Ruth and a second from Nathan to put a Knox box ordinance together. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, I have 2 other ordinances that we talked about at the work session that maybe we want to put on the agenda. One was the right-of-way obstruction ordinance.
Yes, the parking one.
Right.
it's not going to be a parking one so much as it is going to be, you can't obstruct it conceivably be, it's not a no parking ordinance. That's different than just putting junk out in the right of way or some dangerous thing like a stone mailbox that if a car hits,
Yeah.
you're gonna That's what that ordinance covers.
So you know what we're talking about?
I do.
You're gonna put a ordinance together for us to look at then?
Yes, we have a standard
Standard.
ordinance. I just make the changes, slight
Okay,
changes to it.
so let's make a motion to have them, give them the, go ahead to do that.
So moved.
Second,
I second it.
motion from Nathan, second from Gary. Any other discussion?
Just a clarification, when you say for putting obstructions in that right of way, that would include cars, right? Parking, you can't,
Cars, trailers, campers, I mean,
temporary parking,
the
permanent
poor
parking?
road crew, they see it all.
Vehicles may not, probably not. So vehicles, typically, you're gonna have a no parking ordinance because cars or vehicles are made, roads are made for vehicles, for cars. The general rule, if you will, is you can park in the right of way if there's no parking ordinance or no parking sign. You gotta sign it to make it no parking. But if you're gonna just drop someone will come in, they have a contractor coming in doing some work, he dumps a pile of gravel in the road, that's an obstruction. They put something that is dangerous, like an immovable object, boulders, head walls on the culverts, concrete head walls on the culverts that are in the right of way. If a car goes off the road, we'll hit those. Someone may get injured, that's gonna be deemed an obstruction.
I think my take on this a little bit, when it was brought forward from the maintenance team, was that one of the challenges that, and then one of the reasons they were bringing it forward is because in certain places, there are individuals that park their vehicles on, I thought that was what this was about.
Yeah, mostly it's like trailers, campers,
Right.
semi trucks, dump trucks.
It will have provisions that will talk about trailers that are not hitched to a vehicle. So you just drop your trailer off, that's gonna be prohibited typically. Dump trucks, probably not, it's a vehicle. Is this certain parts of the township, like?
Yeah,
certain
it's
roads?
mostly dirt roads, rural dirt roads.
So, yeah, and I'm thinking somebody who's got not a lot of space in their yard, so they're gonna pull their truck and trailer out onto the dirt road and near the house yet, but not so far that it's,
Let me do a little bit of checking on it. My gut reaction is based on what we've done in the past and what I've read in the statutes. The no parking ordinance in the statutes, it's there. What you can do about it is where it gets tricky, meaning when can you tow? There's a laundry list of exceptions, things you can't tow, what you have to do before you tow. I'd want to look at that. My gut reaction is my recollection is when we do a no parking ordinance that applies to vehicles, it is road by road. So you'd have, in one ordinance, you'd name what roads from this stretch to this stretch, and then you have to sign it. So you gotta do both. Can't just pass an ordinance and say no parking. The only exception to that I'm aware of is where you have no parking in the winter months. Typically, it's gonna be November 1 to March 31 or April 30. No parking on the roads overnight, or no parking when there's 2 inches of snow, something of that nature.
and that wouldn't have to be posted, or it would have to be.
Good question. I don't think you have to post every road. I think what you do, my recollection was you post the roads that go into your community. So every road where somebody can access into Thompson, you would post a sign, we have this ordinance that prohibits parking from this date to this date, but it's not an every road issue. But if you're going to have set times at all times, like no overnight parking on this particular road or no parking anytime on this particular road, that's going to be a road by road.
So can we add somehow in there that state statute says you can't park in the driving lane of the road?
Correct.
I mean, because maybe we're going too big with saying right away.
Yeah, it's hard to define on a gravel road
It is.
because your roads vary in width. You know, if you've got a 24-foot top, you're going to be able to put a car on one side of the road anyway and still have 2 driving lanes.
You're tight.
So is this what we want?
It'd be tight.
Yeah, I want
Mike.
to make sure we're doing what
I think
we need.
Even on my dirt road, the right of way is 60 feet wide. The road's only about 25 feet wide. So to make an ordinance that says I can't park in the right of way means I can't put anything on 25 feet of my own property.
That's what,
property I'm
that's what I'm
using.
wondering, if maybe we're going too big with right of way.
Yeah, I think right of way is too big, because all these dirt roads are 60 feet wide right of ways,
Correct.
but you're only using 25 or 30 feet of the right of way.
Is the intent to say, let's call it the gravel portion? No parking on the gravel portion?
I think, Mike, I don't know if you wanna talk to this at all, but, I know where some of the issues are. And what it is, yeah, it's rural dirt road and they just tend to park whatever they want on the road. And then they try to go spread, the chloride on the road and they try to grade the road and,
Yeah, it could be chloride, grade, snow, I mean, it's some playing catch up, but from what I've heard from everybody, it's just obstructing the right of way to continue plowing throughout the day, and that's never the case.
So maybe a better description is ditch to ditch. Because both sides of a dirt road tend to have ditches on them.
Some of them, where you don't have a ditch. I think we want to say no parking in the gravel.
Fair enough.
And then you could say if you have a ditch, no parking in the ditch, that puts you outside of that, that's fine. If you don't have a ditch, then they could be right beside the gravel.
Yeah, right, I like
Now,
that.
in the winter time, that's gonna interfere with your wing, you're probably gonna have to have a different rule for the winter.
Most likely.
You have an ordinance right now that says no parking during the winter months overnight,
No.
your roads?
No, both. So just to continue on that a little bit, what if you went ditch to ditch or 10 feet back off the gravel? You know, or 5
Sure,
feet back off
sure,
the gravel,
that can be done.
which is roughly what a ditch takes.
Yeah.
Because I understand, you know, coming by with the wing in the winter time, or, you know, pushing stuff back. You're pushing it, at least on my road, you're pushing that snow into the ditch. You know, so nobody wants to be there anyhow because they're winging into the ditch, but in the winter, they're gonna wing into the 5 feet off the gravel. So that should, if you're gonna write an ordinance,
Do it best we can.
What do y'all think?
I don't know.
Well, I think that we should describe it as narrow as we can so that we minimize at least the issue that we've got. It might not eliminate it completely, but it would certainly minimize it and then give us teeth for those that are clearly violating the issue.
I just want to make sure we're not going too far and
Yeah,
Prevent
that's why,
people
the
from-
more I think about it, I think doing the whole right of way might just be too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree. Good point about the 60 feet. That
So yeah, Mike, if you want to put something together, you know, and go with 5 feet off the edge of the road or something and get that, at least get it to Mike for sure. Get his approval first since he's our road foreman. And then Mike, you can get it to us and once you two work something out with what you like.
Good.
So does that mean?
do I need to amend my motion?
Yes.
To include 5 feet?
Yeah, remove, did I say?
Or,
Yeah.
know exactly what Tiffany wrote down. Amend his motion.
Right away obstruction is what we were,
Yeah, so change it to 5 to 10 feet off the gravel surface and
Yeah.
we'll have them put something together instead of the whole right away.
So would it be gravel or paved?
What would be a diplomatic motion here, Mr. Mike?
Yeah, any road actually.
So I think it would be this, you're ultimately gonna vote on the motion or on
Yeah.
on the ordinance when it comes up. Just that, authorize me to prepare a no parking ordinance. And then I've got what you're looking for, I believe.
Okay,
I'll come back with it. You guys can adjust it if,
Okay.
Mike will look at it first and
Yeah.
then between it, we can adjust it and you and I will probably have to talk about the pavement. Not sure what your situation is with those and what you'd want to do with that.
Okay.
so we'll just amend your motion then for Mike to go ahead with putting together a parking ordinance.
Awesome.
That will be my amended motion.
Did you say second or did you say awesome?
I said awesome. Second.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
One more ordinance that we talked about at the work session, that driveway ordinance. So maybe have Attorney Mike put together a driveway ordinance. And then I don't know if this Mike wants to speak on that or not.
Still
far
playing
as-
catch up on it all, but I know it's been a struggle. Driveways getting put in without permissions permits, which causing drainage issues. And when not put in right, they cause more work for us, more time for us, and we're still trying to play catch up. And Josh has got a list that's over a year too long. So try to work with each other to figure out what the best way forward is. To do something to help us out, but help the residents. that we-
So you're talking about the ordinance that we talked about to be able to charge people for when we,
Not necessarily to charge.
I think the discussion that during the work session revolved around how many, and that was 2.
well,
We
no,
can't regulate. You
Not-
can't
I'm sorry.
regulate.
Currently, there are people with multiple driveways, and we don't have any ability to regulate how many. But to Mike's point, we
Regulate.
regulate putting in the culverts, and once they either need maintenance or they fail, it's the responsibility of the homeowner to repair and replace.
For the second, I thought it was for the second.
yes,
The second,
first one
For
we're
the-
still doing.
right, for any other than the first.
Right.
Yep.
And then that would also require, they would come to the town for a permit, any driveway they put in.
Any
come in
driveway,
to get a permit. We would send somebody out to inspect it. Make sure that it's in a location that's safe, determine what size culvert is needed
And the design,
and where it's gonna be and how that. Typically, there's gonna be some design issues on the slope of the driveway. What they want is if water's coming down the drive, it doesn't just continue into the road. You crown the driveway in the ditch, so it falls off into the ditch.
right, and not just that, but it's also the underlayment of the culvert itself so that it doesn't lift or sink.
And if you guys are installing it, I think you would, is that something you guys would do?
We would prefer it or a contractor do it, but Josh mentioned he likes to be the one to do it because we're good at it. We know how to do it, take care of it, make sure it's compliant with what we need and what they need.
And we do already require permits.
So. Okay. There again, is that just a motion to have Mike prepare an ordinance for driveway installations?
Correct.
Period.
Yep.
What was your motion?
When you motioned it already,
I
I'll
thought
just,
that was already covered in our road policy.
Would it include if we have to go in and fix somebody's,
Existing?
whatever they put in that's faulty, that we can, if they don't pay, we can assess that to their.
That was what I thought we talked about in the work session.
Yeah.
That was another portion of the discussion.
Yeah.
You're correct, Leah.
I think that's the main thing that we're,
Is,
because we can't
That's-
regulate how many they have, and we
No.
already have,
we can regulate how they're put in,
and we
Yeah.
already do that
do we?
through the permitting process.
The
So
problem
that,
is just when people don't,
Right,
Get
so
a
we
permit.
just need to have
and then something happens.
a policy in place for what we do when
In the
somebody
event
puts
it
something in
doesn't-
wrong and it does damage to the road, or we have to replace it, or.
so does that make sense, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, I think I've got that.
Because you were here for a lengthy discussion we had on it.
and we did talk about assessments on that. and You had covered that as
Yeah.
well.
So do we need a second on that? Did we get one? And that was just discussion.
That was discussion.
It was modified. Oh, so do we need to vote?
So the motion then is, we need to make this clear, is for Mike to put together the ordinance for us to be able to charge people when they're or their, any culvert other than their first one causes damage.
And for any culvert to come in and get a permit. So
Yes.
that you guys determine, is it in the right place? Is the culvert the right size, et cetera?
All right, so whose motion was that?
Those roots.
Well, you muddled it up. so. Start
I so move.
Gary, second from Ruth. Any other discussion on the culvert policy? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. We're giving Mike lots of work to do too. All right, we'll move on to personnel reports and we have Leah.
Getting through the day, trying to get that office ready because furniture should be coming in a couple of weeks, so it's moving right along, we're on schedule.
Great. And Mike?
We're doing a lot of drainage ditching, mowing, right of way maintenance, locating and replacing missing street signs. We can find this becoming a thing. Dead end signs, Erickson and Stark does not have a sign at all.
Are people
Call and
collecting
figure
them?
that out.
Are people collecting them?
Putting them in the dorm rooms.
I can't confirm or deny.
Good answer.
But we did finish the work with Michaela Pond
Oh, good.
as well. Did that, so that's all finished up this week. It's just mowing and trimming trees, just keeping them out of the right of way.
Question, Maple Drive, how's that coming along? That culvert situation?
Thomas is gonna be getting a hold of me as well as Will this next week about
Who's Thomas?
part of Bowling.
Part of bowling.
Yep, yep.
Perfect.
So here's some next week and then
Thank you.
the plan is to get moving forward.
All right. Thank you. Casey?
For the month of July, there was 109 calls for service. In Thompson, on which I handled 98.
Nice. Way to go.
Dude.
Did you work 22 hours a day or what?
No, I only had one long day and we even had some vacation days in there. So
Nice. That's awesome.
can I just say that my concerns about the traffic on East Riverside Road and the speeds has measurably improved. So whatever you've been doing there, so appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to reports from board members and Nathan.
I got an article written up and submitted for the next issue of Esco's Corner. There's a fire district meeting last night. I wasn't able to attend. I got some family from Washington in town, so I was with them. But only really notable thing, they approved purchase of a few video laryngoscopes to use in ambulances. But other than that, I don't have too much to report other than I'm back for good now and I can get back in the office every once in a while. It'll be good.
Very good. Gary?
Good to have you back, Nathan.
That is.
I had an opportunity to talk with Chris Berg at the Carlton County Zoning Department. And he assured me that they are going to allow us to bring up to grade around the building, the pavilion, and to put wood chips into the playground. It's been approved.
Good.
And those were the two big things that we were looking to have done. And then as well as we are also okay with replacing the concrete in front of the restrooms, as long as it doesn't exceed 4 feet out, and I don't think it does. So if we make that same footprint, we'd be good. He said that'd be okay to replace it. And then we just had a discussion in general about the floodplain, the opportunity for us eventually to maybe change some of the playground equipment and move some things around slightly if that were an option. And he said something really curious to me. He said, don't do anything this year unless you absolutely have to, because they are reviewing the ordinance for the floodplain and they are looking to make some favorable changes. And he said, and I can't guarantee, obviously, it won't happen that way, but they are looking to give us some more flexibility so that we can do some things with upgrading, like the playground equipment,
Okay.
without having to go through some real unfortunate, exaggerated changes to the property. So he said, if we can hold off on that and look to make some changes next year, it would be in our best interest. So I told him I appreciated that heads up and that we would definitely not pursue that beyond this year. So that sounded pretty good.
Yeah,
I was
sounds great.
pleased to hear that. it was a great conversation. Enjoyed talking with him and he was very helpful. They are busy like we are and, I commented on the challenges of being able to interact with the county and especially in the summer when things are happening and he appreciates it. And he said it's hard for all of us and he appreciates our patience. So that's where that ended. And beyond that, I don't have anything else specific to report on.
All right, thank you. Ruth?
I'm a good listener today. Nothing to report.
Oh, Ruth, nothing to say? I think I've said more than enough already before Ruth hits me. Tiffany, what do you got?
I don't think I really have much more. We had a successful primary election and got some ideas for the November election and spent the day going over some stuff with Mr. Curry here and getting up to speed and getting some stuff figured out. So where we're at.
All right, very good. Mike, you got anything else to add?
Just one thing, as Tiffany said, we talked about a number of things. One of the things that I suggested to her was that she call around up here, maybe down in the Twin Cities, there are firms, planning firms that would redo an ordinance, like your zoning ordinance, and just get a ballpark idea what that might cost. Bring it back to you guys, let you guys prioritize when and where that might fit into your budget. And if you get to that point, then do an RFP. You'll get some responses back from the planning firms. I think it requires a complete rewrite. It is just old and outdated, but from when I first started in this business, our zoning ordinances were fairly vague. Yours is that way. In the 35 years I've been working, they've become much more detail oriented, and that's because the courts have become stricter. If they're too vague, they interpret them against the township in favor of the property owner. And yours I just don't think it's patchable. It's going to need a rewrite. The only question is when. And so I think that she may be coming back to you at some point with ballpark figures that'll help you determine when you may want to go that route. But it's one of those items I think people are looking. I also suggested that she start to put together some capital improvement plans for a township your size. You really should be looking perhaps on a 10-year basis, a rolling 10-year basis. What are we going to need to replace and how are we going to fund it?
Yeah, like right now it only goes out, what, 4 years or something?
Something, and it'll be revamped and much cleaner layout and easier to read. And
Yeah,
all.
because we're still kind of just muddling through with an old one.
Yeah.
So,
And then the goal is to figure out how to keep your levy steady by not having these big spikes when you need to buy some equipment. It can be done. I've got a city that has been doing it probably for 15 years. And when they go to buy equipment, it is, the council asks every time, how are we paying for it? And it's fully funded. Typically, it's fully funded under our capital improvements plan. So it's a very good tool, and I think you're to the point where you're probably going to need it. It just makes your budgeting and your planning a lot easier than doing it on an ad hoc basis. Makes sense.
very good. All right. Motion to adjourn, anyone?
So
Motion to adjourn.
Motion from Nathan, second from Ruth. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Yeah.
Passes. Thank you.
That question for me, or just a, yeah, because it will be,
Just, did you ask Chris whether or not we can put aside?
Mike, it was nice to have you here.